is if you're registered with a unique identifier through the National Mortgage Licensing System and Registry, and you're an employee of a depository institution or subsidiary that's owned and controlled by a depository institution and regulated by a federal banking agency. So who's the big winner in this legislation? The big banks. The big banks that didn't cause any problems in this last, and I'm obviously being facetious there. All right. We're going to call from now on, as a shorthand, wherever I can, a residential mortgage loan originator, an RMLO. Get used to that acronym. You'll hear it a lot going forward in the future. Now, you very well may become an RMLO in the process of doing some of your own deals, because it's a lot cheaper and easier just to go ahead and get the education and pass the test and become licensed, right? It may just be the only solution that you've got to doing your business. What do you have to do to get there? Well, the Texas statute talks about 20 hours. The federal statute talks about 20 hours. The Texas rules at this point in time appear to give credit to licensed mortgage brokers for some of the experience that they've had. And so there's not, at least this lawyer can't give you a definitive answer without knowing a heck of a lot more about your circumstances as to exactly how many hours you're going to have to take to get your license as an RMLO. There's a school of thought that says 20 hours is all you got to take, okay? There's at least 3 hours of federal law, 3 hours and regulations, 3 hours of ethics, and 3 hours for lending standards that are part of the required curriculum, and they're still promulgating the curriculum and approving the courses and other issues. You also have to pass a test at the state level and make a score of 75% or better, and there is a separate test that's required at the federal level that you also have, as I understand it, as I see the regulatory scheme, that you also have to pass the federal level and by a score of 75. And again, there is a school of thought that says you've got to pass both tests, you've got to take both 20 hours that are specified in the federal law and the state law. But I will tell you, my own personal opinion is that the state law is, at this time, the preemptive law. Until HUD comes along and decides that Texas isn't doing it right, those extra hours that you see in the HUD regs are essentially only intended, as I see it, for those states that don't pass their own SAFE Act that otherwise meets the standards. And as I say, I think every state legislature is going to make it as simple as possible by passing the Model Act. In order to get your license, you have to pass a criminal background check. You can't have had any felonies for the past 7 years, and you can never have had a felony that involved fraud, misrepresentation to a federally insured institution. You have to post a bond, and there's a recovery fund that you're going to pay into, which supposedly will help victims of mortgage fraud, etc., after they've gone at least 2 years as a result of the misdeeds of the licensed RMLO. Now, this is not a recovery fund for lenders. This is a recovery fund for borrowers who effectively are defrauded or cheated or somehow persuaded to enter into transactions that aren't good for them. This is going to be a new standard that we're going to have to concern about. You know, how